All right, people, you are going to love this one. This is something that is coming out of a different ruling outside the gun world. SCOTUS is openly handing backhands to these woke judges in the district courts and the circuit courts around making up their own rulings at a whimsical decision. And their notification bell on. You guys are helping us get to 600,000 subs, and every time that you do, you poke a gun control sensor right in the face. It's incredible, and it can't be done without you. So thank you for doing all those things. All right, let me get over here in the audio video. Make sure everything is good. 5x5 in the chat, and we are going to have a ball on this one. All right. Hello from Florida. We love you. I love you as well in the appropriate amount. All right, 5x5 audio video is good. Let's get into this, people. It is late in the evening for some of you, and some of you are just getting off work, but let's have some fun together. All right. You can follow me at on X, at Braden LOA. And guys, we aim to be the tip of the spear. That's what we are trying to do. And every time you join us, every time you join the Second Press, our movement to fully push the far left off the cliff of obscurity, you are making a huge difference, because it's no longer enough just to hold the line. We are now going on the offense. We are the cutting edge, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. All right, Second Press is down in the description box below if you want to follow along, you want to join. We have enough people. Let's get to the goodness. As always, emojis, like all the flying chats, I will make sure I get to them as I can. We're going to jump over to a few channels, and we're going to take a tour guide from someone named Robert Gouvier, Esquire. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Just a little off-the-cuff moment. If I could be anything in this world, Esquire would be high on that list. Just want to throw that out there. But hat tip to him, because he goes through this decision from August 21st, 2025. Now, this is outside of the gun world, but it directly speaks to something that we suffer from in the gun world. Because these judges in the Ninth Circuit, the Second Circuit, all these judges just decide that they're going to make up whatever rules they want. Because after all, they've got black robes and stuff, so they're like fancy. Well, SCOTUS is kind of upset because they like to just ignore precedent that they set, like, I don't know, the Braden decision, where they just go, this is dumb. We shouldn't have to look at history. We're not historians. We're going to go with our own test, like interest balancing test. We're just going to make up our own rules because we didn't like what the SCOTUS said. Yeah, listen to the language from this video who is reading a decision. Guys, this is a good one. All right, let's get into this.
Gorsuch is unhappy with the lower level courts, and he rips them here appropriately. Kavanaugh joins in on Gorsuch, and Gorsuch is the man. Lower court judges may sometimes disagree with this court's decisions, but they are never free to defy them. And we know who he's talking about right here. Department of Ed versus California and these other cases.
All right, so if some of you guys can't hear me, just so you know, the audio and video connection and internet here is perfectly fine. So I don't know what the issue is, but we're going to keep on trucking on. So here's the thing. This is from the Department of Education versus California. The lower court judges may sometimes disagree. And a hat tip to this channel, Robert Gouvier, Esquire. It's linked in the description for a source, so credit where credit's due. The lower court judges may sometimes disagree with this court's decision, but they are never free to defy them. Okay, now let's go big real quick. Think about our gun world fight. They constantly ignore the Braden decision. They constantly are at odds with the Heller decision. They just do whatever the hell they want to do. The SCOTUS is a little pissed, as honestly they should be. And I know a lot of you out there watching this live are just as irritated with the exact same thing because they just ignore the SCOTUS whenever the hell they want. It looks like it's being noticed. Let's get back into it. Hopefully the audio and video cleaned up for you guys. Let's check this out. Back to the video.
Like Judge Boasberg. Now, in the Department of Education case, this court granted a stay because it found the government was going to win in showing that the district court did not have jurisdiction to force the government to pay money. California, in that case, right, the Supreme Court case, explained that suits based on any express or implied contract with the United States are not APA claims. You can't just sue because you're mad. You have to go to the Court of Federal Claims. There's something called the Tucker Act, and you have to sue there. Rather than follow that direction, the district court in this case permitted a suit involving a materially identical grant to proceed to final judgment under the APA. Gorsuch is saying, we've already dealt with this. We've already had cases that are very similar. People.
All right, that's a very important piece. And if you can't hear me, leave the feed and come back. It's all good. It's not on my end. Everyone's saying it's in the YouTube side. So bottom line on this, you have to understand what they are individually saying in this actual case. It granted a stay, and they have to basically pay their grant obligations and express or implied contract with the United States. But in the Court of Federal Claims under the Tucker Act, the district court in this case permitted a suit involving material identical grants to proceed as final judgment under the APA. The APA should sound familiar to you guys. And again, everything is linked. If you missed any of that, I have all of it. It's a shorter version linked in the description box below. The APA is how we've been going at all the gun control in the court systems. The Administrative Procedures Act, it's not even getting to the Second Amendment claims. It's going straight after the APA. Okay, all the cases we've been covering. And I love the emojis and the hearts, and I appreciate you guys. All right, now let's keep on going because he has some really good commentary right here, and hopefully this cleared up and you guys can hear it.
Mad they lost their money. We said sue in the Court of Federal Claims. You're not doing it, says Gorsuch. And you might disagree, but you cannot defy us. Now, as support for its course, says Gorsuch, this lower level judge invoked what he says is persuasive authority. And persuasive authority, which he's calling the dissent in California, which are in the dissent. That was error, says Gorsuch. And we...
All right. Persuasive, what was the word? I gotta actually back up. Persuasive what? Persuasive authority. Yeah, Gorsuch is like, yeah, in a normal world outside of California, we call that a dissent. You're just pissed that you lose. You don't have to agree, but you do have to follow the orders. Again, everything's linked if you want to listen to this. That's what's happening right here. Gorsuch, who, by the way, is legit. Some of his stuff in his oral arguments for a lot of the cases have been really solid. He's basically saying to all the California district courts, what the actual hell are you doing? You can't just make up stuff because you don't agree. You have to follow what we tell you. You are in a court system. Again, Bruin decision, Heller decision. I've got one more tab I'm going to show you here in a second. And hopefully the audio and video cleared up.
The dissent. That was error, says Gorsuch. And we want respect. We command respect. And you need to follow our orders. And you're a federal judge, and you should...
All right, this last piece, and I know it's small, but you guys can watch the video. It's linked. This is the last piece that's so important to this. And either way, talking about the other court decisions, and either way, when the court issues a decision, it constitutes a precedent that commands respect in the lower courts. This is a backhand shot across the bow. That's one guy. Again, link in the description if you want to see him and check him out. But now I'm going to go to another source, okay? When I go to this one, it's a little bit less lawyer and a little bit more news related, okay? This is a different account. This is called Explain America. Everything is linked in the description. Hat tip to each of them and credit where credit's due. Listen to what he says, again, from the news angle, and I'll tie all of this together because this is really important. Kind of like when Ketanji quoted herself. That was amazing.
The Supreme Court is bringing the smackdown on lower court judges who think that they can overturn the rule of law and also ignore precedent from the nation's highest courts. This is really a warning shot that these rogue judges are going to have to heed. But before we get into this story, please like, share, and comment Explain America. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. One of the court's most conservative justices, Neil Gorsuch, just fired a warning shot at rogue judges who have consistently and in an unprecedented rate defied the highest court in the land and have also sought to undermine the Trump administration. Neil Gorsuch, in a ruling this week, said, and I quote, "Lower court judges may sometimes disagree with the court's decisions, but they are never free to defy them," unquote.
I mean, listen, I'm just saying. He told you to like the channel and subscribe. Just don't do it to his, do it to mine. I mean, obviously. But in all seriousness, hat tip to him for bringing this forward. So you're getting this from multiple sources. The court, the Supreme Court, the justices are saying to lower courts, do not defy us. You do not have to agree. That is your choice to have a different opinion, but you must follow our orders and dictates. We are precedent setting. Bend over. We are the SCOTUS. That's the whole point of this entire thing. If you extrapolate this out back to the 2A fight, You're living in a world that the 2A has been living in forever, and it just turns out now that the Trump administration, the immigration fights, and all the Department of Education fights, now you're starting to figure out what we've been doing and dealing with in the Second Amendment space for the next 30 or the last 30 years, where they just make up their own rulings ad hoc. Hey, you can't do interest balancing anymore. It's like, well, we're going to balance this interest. You see, we said it differently. That's literally what we've been dealing with in our space forever. But now, because they branched out the exact same tactics to other areas of the fight, all of a sudden it's, yeah, we can't have this catching hold. The bottom line is, they're smacking the lower court judges with this. They're probably going to resist and be pissed, but I don't really care. Let's keep on going.
Gorsuch also noted that it was the third time in a matter of weeks that this court has had to intercede in a case squarely controlled by one of its precedents. He added, when this court issues a decision, it constitutes a precedent that commands respect in lower courts. Wow, you don't really see that from the Supreme Court, but that is not mincing words.
Okay, I like my voice better. Anyway, here's the thing. If you in 1 week have 3 different court cases that they have to intervene in that are all based and already have answers and precedent, the lower courts are not functioning because the SCOTUS has already ruled. That's the underlying point. That's why he came out and did this, is because he literally said we have had to reiterate ourselves 3 separate times because lower courts are not listening to our precedents, and you don't have to like them, but get in line, bend over, we're the SCOTUS. This is the whole left playbook. Come here, we're gonna talk. Come here. This is the entire left playbook, and I'll get to the chats here in a second. As we get further and further down this road of a very extreme a very conservative Supreme Court, and then we have a conservative administration, the only thing that they've had to do on the left is obstruct through the judges and the judicial system. Now, because they've been burning the tires so long and just spinning and spinning and spinning, they're trying to distract away from the mission and burn down the clock. The SCOTUS just said, we've literally told you what to do 3 different times on 3 different cases in this week alone, and you simply won't do it. Get in line. These orders are not to be defied. I know a lot of you guys aren't SCOTUS. I'm not a SCOTUS. I'm not even a judge. Fancy. I'm not even an Esquire like the other guy. But I can tell you that when the SCOTUS issues those types of rulings, and then you've also got SCOTUS smacking down Ketanji Brown Jackson about her utter stupidity from ACB, something's happening behind the scenes. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. But listen, guys, I see everything is good. Sound and audio is messed up. I'm sorry about that. I hope you guys enjoy this content. Hopefully it cleans up on the playback. Everything is linked in the description box below. I wanted to do this short and sweet. I hope each and every one of you have an amazing Tuesday evening. I love each and every one of you. Just the right amount that makes you feel comfortable. And I will see you tomorrow when the grind continues, because the work is stacking up like crazy. And I hope each of you have a wonderful evening. See you later.